Today I'm going to be working on my new Studio palette. Now this I got for Christmas, and it has taken me 2 years to find an inexpensive palette that is made of ceramic that gives me enough room to blend but yet holds a nice amount of colors. I'm replacing this palette of 18 colors with this palette of 9 colors. I know I'm reducing it in half, but you know what? I'm looking forward to that because I have enjoyed working with a limited palette inside Found and Curated last year, and this is going to give me a chance to explore it even further. I'm going to be doing some tests on different brands of colors. Like I've got greens I want to check out. I've got a couple new browns. I've got some yellows. I want the range to be less, but I also want it to be able to mix whatever I want. So that's quite a challenge. I will be using this palette here. And this set came with, I call this my playful palette. So just for doing projects in my sketchbook, where this is going to be more my studio palette and be out all the time. And then it also comes with a little dish. I'm using this for pouring, but it's also great for putting little things. Like I'm already thinking about collecting things and just leaving this on my desk because it's so cute. And what I really like too is this palette is not that big, and you can see it's quite thin, so I can just stick it in a drawer for myself and keep the dust off of it. So I'm really looking forward to using this. Are you ready to explore some colors with me? And let's get this palette in use. I can't wait to see what colors we choose. These are the colors I'm going to be swatching. I'm using this Canson Matte Vol watercolor. I found a great sale on this paper and I bought 4 of them, but it's not my favorite. I'm going to use it for color swatching just to use it up. So let's have some fun exploring. For the greens, I have Holbein Yellow Gray, and then the other 3 are Daniel Smith. I'm going to do the Yellow Gray first because I really love this color and it is kind of new to me. Then I've got Daniel Smith Olive Green. You can see a big difference there between what I've been using. We've got Daniel Smith Green Apatite Genuine. This is one of the first Daniel Smith colors I ever bought. I love it. And then I've got Daniel Smith Undersea Green. The last 2 are granulating colors. Now I've got blues. These are all Daniel Smith colors. The first one is Cerulean Blue Chromium. I can't make up my mind if I want a light blue or a dark blue on this palette. So you'll see the first 2 are a little lighter. Then I've got Sleeping Beauty Turquoise Genuine, and this was one of my first colors from Daniel Smith as well. It's on my palette forever. I used it mostly as a muting color. So if you're looking for something to explore to mute colors, Sleeping Beauty is beautiful for that. Then I've got Indigo. And then I've got Payne's Blue Gray. That's a nice color. I like the mutedness that it offers. And then I've got Lunar Blue. Lunar Blue is a granulating color as well. This is going to be a hard choice. And then for my buff titanium, I have American Journey French Gray that I'm going to try. I've got Daniel Smith Buff Titanium, and then I have Da Vinci Titan Buff. So this is the French Gray first. Now I've got the Daniel Smith Buff Titanium. This one was not on my palette this year. I went to the Da Vinci, which is next, because this one was a little too yellow for what I wanted this year. Or should I say for 2024. And now I've got Titan Buff of Da Vinci. I'm going to swatch out some browns now because I have used sepia on my palette since the very beginning and I know what it can do to my colors, so I want to experiment with something new. So I've got 4 Daniel Smith colors here. The first one is Hematite Burnt Scarlet Genuine. I'm hoping this one granulates. It should. Let's add a little darker up here. There we go. I've got Permanent Brown now. This is a new color. I haven't played around with this color. Ooh, look at that. That's a beautiful coloration. I don't think it's what I'm looking for this palette. It's a little too orange. Now I have Enviro-Friendly Brown Iron Oxide. I like the richness of this one. And then I've got Van Dyke Brown. Ooh, look how dark this one is. Look at those. Those are nice. I'm going to go into yellows now. I always have a hard time with yellows. I like raw sienna, but for this palette, I want to try something a little brighter. So these are all Daniel Smith. This is Naples Yellow. Then I have a new color. This is called Mars Yellow. I recently bought this, but I haven't played around with it. Ooh, that's nice. It's kind of like a mustard yellow. I've got Transparent Yellow Oxide. Then I have Goethite Brown Ochre. I used to have this on my palette when I was first starting, and I haven't used it since. It's so sad. Look at the beautiful color it is. I think it's a little too brown. I'm looking for a brighter yellow. Then I'm going to go into oranges. For the oranges, I have all Daniel Smith colors. The first one is Aussie Red Gold. If you don't have Aussie Red Gold, this is one to definitely have on your palette. It's such a beautiful color. Look at that. The first time I tried that, it went right on my palette. Then I have Quinacridone Burnt Orange. Ooh, look at that richness. Then I have Lunar Earth. And then I have Enviro-Friendly Red Iron Oxide. Ooh, that's a lovely color. And then we've got reds. For this first color, I've got this Alonia. She's a YouTube artist here, and this is Strawberry Velvet. I really liked this color because it granulated, but it was also really bright and a different shade from what I'm used to seeing on a palette. Look how beautiful that is. It's like a dirty corally color. I think the name fits it perfect, Strawberry Velvet. The other 3 reds are Daniel Smith. This is Quinacridone Coral. Then I've got Daniel Smith Permanent Red. And then I've got Daniel Smith Carmine. I'm going to let these dry, then I will add the names and show you up close what they look like. My pages are dry, so I want you to come closer and see the beautifulness of this palette of colors. I am going to have a very hard time picking, but I'm kind of looking for a traditional palette, meaning I want a simple yellow, a simple orange, a simple red, a simple green, that kind of thing. So let me introduce you to the colors so far. I have Holbein Yellow Gray, Daniel Smith Olive Green, Daniel Smith Green Apatite Genuine. You can see a little bit of granulating there. Daniel Smith Undersea Green. Look at the granulation, isn't that gorgeous? I've got Cerulean Blue Chromium, Sleeping Beauty Turquoise Genuine, Indigo, Payne's Blue Gray. All of those are Daniel Smith. And I have Lunar Blue. Look at the granulation on that. This is American Journey French Gray. It's only available from Cheap Joe's. This is Daniel Smith Buff Titanium, and this is Da Vinci Titan Buff. So I was trying to make a choice between those three. Everything on this sheet is Daniel Smith except for this Alonia. So let me bring you closer. For the browns, I have Hematite Burnt Scarlet Genuine. Look at the granulation of that. So pretty. I have Permanent Brown. I have Enviro Friendly Brown Iron Oxide. And then I have Van Dyke Brown. Look at the richness of that. For my yellows, I have Naples Yellow. I have Mars Yellow, Transparent Yellow Oxide, and Goethite. For my oranges, I have Aussie Red Gold. Doesn't that just look like it's on fire right there? Quinn Burnt Orange, Lunar Earth, and Enviro Friendly Red Iron Oxide. And then for the reds, I have Alonia Strawberry Velvet. I've got Quinn Coral, Permanent Red, and Carmine. They all have just a little bit different in coloration. And so when I'm looking at this now, trying to decide what I really want my palette to look like. Do I want it to be bold or do I want it to be kind of muted? How do I want to use my colors in my palette? I can tell you that for the greens, I use greens a lot, and I'm going to pick two. I'm going to pick the Holbein Green Yellow Gray, and then I'm also going to pick the Green Apatite. I just really love these two. I love the Undersea Green, but it's not a bold enough green for me. So I can really mute this one down with either the Sleeping Beauty or one of my oranges or one of my reds. But this one I cannot brighten to make it a little more brighter green. You can see that it's got tones of this in it and it's got some tones of that. So I'm going with these two. On the blues, I think I'm going to go with Lunar Blue. I really like this darkness and I love the way that it granulates. But I also was torn between adding one of these to my palette. I'm familiar with Sleeping Beauty because that was one of the first colors that I really ever had on my palette. So I'm going to go with that. I haven't used that for years. So it'll be nice to reintroduce myself into Sleeping Beauty. Now for my Titan buffs or buff titanium colors, I was looking for a more neutral color this time around. I used Da Vinci Titan buff on my palette for 2024. All the other years was buff titanium Daniel Smith. So I think this year I'm going to try this American Journey French Gray. Now American Journey is from Cheap Joe's and it's made by Da Vinci. But I love the neutralness of that. You can see this has yellow and this is more of a dirty yellow. So I think I'm getting a really nice neutral color to kind of tone and mute all my other colors down. For the browns, I really, really love this Hematite Burnt Scarlet Genuine because of the granulation. However, I don't think it's dark enough. Yes, I can mute it with the Lunar Blue and probably the Green Apatite, but I was looking for something solid as a brown. So I think I'm going to go with the Van Dyke Brown. I'm kind of intrigued with the darkness, that it's kind of a gray brown, and I haven't had anything on my palette like that. So this will be interesting to play with. As far as yellows, I was torn between, do I go really light because this will mix with every color and brighten it, But then I really like the more raw sienna color, so I'm choosing between that and this, and that is Mars Yellow. It's a new color for me, so I really want to try that. I'm not sure that I'm going to like the brightness, but we're going to give it a try. And then for the oranges, I always look for an earthy orange. And the one that really struck me right now is this Quin Burnt Orange. I like the Aussie Red a lot, but I also know that when I've had this on my palette, I always toned it down because it's just too bright. So taking away the brightness here, I think will do me really good. And then I was really looking at what kind of red do I want. Do I want a corally red? Do I want a magenta red? Do I want a red red? What do I really want? And because I chose these two as my yellow and my orange, I thought I would go kind of duller red. And the Strawberry Velvet, I've been intrigued with since I bought it. These, I think, I like the coral, but it's a little too pink. This one was a little too like purplish pink. I like the Permanent Red a lot. However, I think it's just too ordinary. From what I have on my palette, really that's kind of a brightish color, where I think this one is going to give me a lot better mixing because it is a granulating color and it has that little deep richness that I'm looking for in the colors. Whenever I do a palette, I'm always aware of how I use a palette. So my brown is over here because I didn't want it next to the lunar. I'm not used to having a dark blue on my palette, so I didn't want to instinctually reach for that color thinking it was my dark brown and then come up with blue. So I ended up putting my lightest and my darkest over here. So this is my Van Dyke Brown. This is my French Gray. This is Mars Yellow, Burnt Orange, the Allonia Strawberry Velvet, the Holbein Yellow Gray, Green Apatite Genuine, Sleeping Beauty, and Lunar Black. I'm really excited about this palette. The fact that it's a ceramic palette, but also that we work together to choose these colors. So thank you for giving me your opinions. I appreciate that. I could feel it through the screen. Trust me on this. You're like, no, not that one. But I'm looking forward to letting this inspire my curiosity and my creativity throughout the year of 2025. I hope you'll join me in the painting sessions inside my sketchbook, experimenting with this limited palette of colors. If you were inspired by today's content, please like and comment. If you haven't subscribed, please click the button. And as always, thanks for watching.